Yes, sir. It's the Print Factory show here. And yes, it was my fault. Finally, JSU's fault for running late on a show. It was actually my fault. So I'll take the full blame here. But we're ready to go. We're ready to talk some football here. And we got the full crew with us. Big T at the bottom, and then ODB over here. And I'll go to my man ODB first because he was yelling at me to start this show. What's going on, man? You fired up today?
I'm fired up, and I got to get some fucking teeth work done at 2. So at 2:30 my time. So we got to get on this fucking slate. We got a good slate, interesting slate, and I think I'm gonna fire the main lobby for the first time in a long time and fire one in this 4-4-4-4. Try to win $1 million this week. So I need some of the juju from the group.
Love that. All right. ODB's going to fire in the big Millie contest. Well, good luck to you. They got a few big Millies. I know we're talking football, but NBA tonight, they got a big Millie. Draftkings putting it out with some of these big Millies.
ODB sent the picture. I got a picture, JSU. Like, this is how dialed in ODB is. I woke up to a picture like on, I don't remember, Saturday, Sunday, one of the last week. It had a picture of each Millie, and it said it's time or something.
Yeah, because
ready to go.
Tony's knocking on the fucking door, and we don't want to waste it on some $10,000.
Rang the doorbell. He's walked through the Millie door. What are you talking about?
No,
Tony's
I'm saying over the last
anyone can win one, JSU.
The last 3 months, Tony's been knocking on the door of some wins and some big scores. Even though he had 100K at the Ryder Cup, he had 75K, he had 180 but he has let's save the run good, not for the 10,000 first prize.
We need
for the
another Millie.
4-4-4-4. And this NBA one tonight looks juicy.
JSU might win tonight. I think it might be JSU's time tonight.
Well, shit. If a JSU's going to win, I need to get a piece of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm working my way into getting the little crack in there tonight.
I didn't win a ticket tonight, so I try to be disciplined with those big ones, those 2,544. I try not to fire 3
4 businesses, ODB. He freaking makes more money than anyone I know. And he's the most frugal dude. He won't ever get in college football if I tell him it's a good contest. He's so stubborn with what he gets in.
It's not stubborn. I just try and be disciplined with.
It's fine. You can be disciplined. Just sell off pieces and win other people money. Let's go. I'll take a piece.
Yeah, I want some of JSU too. Correct.
I mean,
the one day, what was it? The one day I was like, I'll put in your whole thing. I just want you to get in. And he still wouldn't do it. That's the discipline he's got. He just still wouldn't. He's
That's not discipline. That's just stupid. What are you giving all the money to Utica and fucking Whistle and all that shit? Take some home. Bring some home to the good guys.
Yeah, I want some of the JSU.
I always want to bring some home to the good guys. Hopefully, we can get the 50K best ball draft home. That's
we're teetering. We're just right there. We just need 1 week to.
This is the week that I was most worried about, though. It's the week 13 bye.
It's tough for everyone, though. Is the fair part, though. It is going to be a rough week.
We're over a quarter of our team is week 13 buys.
Well, I know it's not going to be great. We got to survive.
Yeah, but I mean, we got a quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't even have quarterbacks. So I need you to send me. I need to see these top 4 or 5 teams. So send me the link sometime, Big T.
Do that?
Can't you just? Don't you have view live contests or something?
There was a tweet from the beginning after.
I sent that one that had all the teams, but
I need to see what we're fading.
That's the only thing I really know how to look at. I don't know how to. I don't really know.
Send them that one. I think Two Gun was the guy who tweeted it out.
No, I tweeted the picture because I did it myself.
Oh, you tweeted it?
Yeah, I sculpted the picture to put it on one picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, that was ODB. Did you hear that? He gave me no credit. I took the time to sculpt
I honestly thought it was Two Gun.
And then he gave credit to freaking Two Gun.
All I know is that if there's something to tweet, Big T will tweet it. He's a tweet master.
I know. This man, he even tweets. He'll literally say, he is so up. He loves to tweet. He always tells me, he's like, "You're missing out on tweeting. You need to tweet more." I'm like, it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. You tweet, and I'll laugh when you tweet. I'll like it, but that's
I'll laugh
it.
when
That's
you tweet.
Yeah. I mean, I do. Some of your tweets are funny. I laugh. It's fine. Some of them suck.
So mean.
How it is. All right. We got football to talk about. And ODB, poor guy, I didn't know he has to have teeth worked on today, which is literally like the worst thing I could ever do. Like, if anyone tells me, like, what's the worst day for you, it would be going to get my teeth worked on. So,
Yeah, same.
Your pain. I know you're.
I'm going this week too. It's a bad week for the crew. I'm going. I think Friday's the day I'm going to have to go.
Well, the difference between you and me, Big T, is you're going to have $1 million in your pocket from today's NBA.
I will feel better going to the dentist with $1 million. I'll tell you that.
I don't have $1 million yet.
Not when
they know it's
Big T, you owe me $20K today for your teeth.
We gotta hurry up with this show so Big T can get that 444 NBA. And how many teams you doing tonight?
2,500 tonight. It's a discount tonight.
2,500 tonight.
Oh, it's 2,500. The Millie is 2,500. All right. How many teams?
And they got if you do 2, you get $500 back. So it's a nice little deal. If you get 500,
so at least 2. At least 2.
No, two's a good number. Two's
okay.
Two's
all right.
Two's where we want to be.
Oh, all right. I'm excited for this one. I don't even like NBA, but I'm gonna.
Oh, I like it tonight when you're in there rooting the boys on.
Yeah, I'm gonna sweat it. Go ahead and make sure you send me that link. I'm gonna be on there.
All right, so make sure you guys check out NBA. We got to get to NFL. We'll have NBA content up if you want to join the crew. Giblets 44 is still the promo code. 44% off your first monthly or weekly payment. Get in there. We'll be talking hoops all throughout the night tonight. Be on the Up to Lock show later, so check us out over at Run Pure Sports. Promo code Giblets 44. All right, NBA slate or NFL slate for this weekend. 10 games on the main slate here. Tony, I did notice just through looking through the games here, we have a matchup, and I'm going to start with this game actually. Washington is facing. Do you know who they're facing, Tony?
I have not looked yet, so I do not.
The Miami Dolphins this week. You got the Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Redskins this week. Tua Tagovailoa with 400 yards passing. What do you think? Over, under? You think he gets the 400, Tony?
Man, I mean, since I've started diving into this flowchart stuff, I feel very confident in my numbers. I keep saying that. And, man, Washington is just by far the best team all year to stack in games. I mean, their game flow is just elite. They're just as far as my overall numbers, this is not updated through this week, but through last week, Washington was number 4 offense, number 3 defense, number 1 overall as far as like game stat quality. And then you go to Miami and they're a top 5 offense. Their defense is a little tougher to score on, so they're not quite as game flow proof as Washington. But they're the number 7 overall team. So you got number 1 and number 7 overall as far as just stackability, throw them in there, and about as good as you could have for DFS.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, literally that Dallas game, I mean, they weren't even scoring, and Dallas was just whipping them at the end and dropping. It's just they just give up points. They just can't stop anyone.
And they throw so much. It makes it just perfect for stacking. They just chuck the ball.
Yep. So that's the game we're starting with here. 9.5-point spread. Dolphins favorite. It is in Washington too. So maybe Washington can hang around. I mean, listen, the Dolphins, let's be honest, they haven't really looked that great the last few weeks. I know they beat the Jets, but I think we throw that game out. It was against Tim Boyle, blah, blah, blah. He sucks. The Jets have been, kind of going downhill the last couple of weeks. So honestly, before that, Miami's been struggling. So could this be a game where Washington actually stays in it with Miami? And if that's the case, I mean, this is going to be a DFS game that you're going to want to be a part of here. But ODB, what do you like for the side here? You got a 50-point total in this game as well.
Yeah, it's really hard to back Washington, but I think I'm just going to probably plug my nose and do it here. Seems like this line's a little inflated. I mean, Miami's been laying these kind of numbers at home versus worse teams than Washington. So, I mean, I know Washington has really been bad since they sold off their 2 linemen. So it does bring me hesitation, but I don't know. Kind of just feels a little heavy. Might get some weather up there in the Northeast. Yeah, I don't know. From a DFS standpoint, I think the Dolphins are going to be so freaking high. I might just hold my nose and fade, but I don't really know. I'm not really sure what to do with this game because it does seem like obviously the nut spot, but I mean, we're not breaking any news to know that. I mean, everybody who's watched 1 second of football can tell you that. So, um, there comes a point where you just gotta decide, are you just gonna try to beat the other bunch of people who play this game, or just kind of hope that like weather wonky. The Dolphins haven't been nearly as effective on the road. They only scored 20, I think, against the Raiders. They've been slow going in some of their starts, but they have turned it on late, against like Carolina and the Giants. So, maybe you just get lucky and it holds on, a little bit longer, or it gets spread out and you get some Smythe and an A chain or some random Jeff Wilson TD or just something like that, and you just don't get smashed by the chalk. But I don't know. My gut right now tells me the Redskins or the Commanders, whatever, and kind of maybe fade it, but I don't know. It's very hard to fade, but I don't know. I'll be interested to see what you guys want to do with this game.
Yeah, I mean, the price tags for Miami are what you would expect. They're all very high. I mean, Tua's 7,900, Tyreek's 9,600, which I think is like the highest he's been all year. Jalen Waddle 7,600. It's not like an easy team to just jam in. Even Mostert's up to 73, Achane 69. So, I think it'll be interesting. I think the interesting part of this game is, do you play any Washington pieces? Because I do think this game goes over. I just struggle to see how Washington slows down Miami because they haven't been able to slow down anybody. And if that's the case, can Washington push the pace and maybe put some points on the board? I think they can with Miami's recent struggles. So I'll go there.
Maybe naked Tua is the only answer. Why in the world would you ever play naked Tua?
Maybe so. I wouldn't do this, but I would assume his theory behind this is everyone's priced up. So if he spreads the ball around, the only thing is he really doesn't spread the ball
He's
around.
7,900 too. Like I could see doing it if it's a dude's 5K.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you is like all their pieces are expensive too. So you're paying 7,900 for Tua, then you pay 76 or 9,600 for Tyreek or
Because
Waddle.
they're going to score 79 points.
I know. I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm saying in his mind, he's saying maybe they spread it out.
Andrew,
my point is he doesn't really spread it out.
My point is, Andrew, don't play naked Tua, please.
All right, Andrew, don't play naked
please,
Tua.
Please don't. Like, please.
You're gonna be so pissed when naked Tua wins the Millie. What was that week when a naked quarterback won the? Oh, Brock Purdy. But
it's happened a few times, but again, that's a cheap guy.
Or a running guy. Or a Kyler.
Yeah,
Fields.
A running guy could for sure. Cheap guys, I actually don't mind it as much as other people, just because you can get in. Like in this, for example, you could play like a 4,900 quarterback and then stack this game up a little bit or something like that. But
you could go someone else's quarterback and then take the pieces. I mean, Tony, do you like Washington to cover? Do you like them?
I wouldn't say I like it because I agree with what you guys said. A lot of your points where Washington can't stop anybody. So I think I'd plug my nose like ODB said and take Washington just because I think they could score enough. But man, it's dicey when you know a team can score every trip. I don't think I'm on Washington. Actually, I don't have to. I don't like Miami that much either, though. This is not like a clear spot. I think this game falls like 10 or 7 or something in the end. But I think there's a bunch of points. I would just – the way Washington's played all year, I just see no reason Miami's not scoring 50 in this game. Like,
just take the over.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably going to do. Or I'll just, play it heavy in DFS too. So
if you play Miami, to me, the run backs that I would like – would either be Antonio Gibson, because you're hoping that Miami gets outscores a lot and he gets dump offs and he could put up points, or Dotson seems to be like the forgotten man DFS wise. I mean, McLaurin is like the number one and Curtis Samuel's the sexy play who's been getting targets and is cheaper, but Dotson kind of falls in that middle ground where like I think he'll be the least of the bringbacks. So like you could differentiate there.
God, their receivers are so cheap. Like
So cheap.
It makes it. I mean, on volume alone, Curtis Samuel can just get there. He don't even need the touchdown.
He's been like my quiet hero all year too. Like every time I play him, he just smashes. And he smashed again last week. He's so cheap. I like the Dotson call too, though. I mean, 4,600. Even McLaurin at 55. It's going to be hard for me not to be very heavy into this game. Like very, very heavy.
Yeah, easy run backs that are cheap. This is going to be a good game to target. So,
and don't forget about our boy. We talked about our bye week being tough. Don't sleep on Mr. Achane coming back this week for a little nuker for us for the 50K nuker.
That's what we need.
Don't worry about him. Woo. They didn't run him last week. I think he was good last week, actually, but it was a short week against the Jets. They're like, let's hold him one more week to be safe, and let's nuke versus Washington. I think this is the spot where he gets it going again. I think we see legitimate 30-plus for us this week. I think he's back. I think 2 house calls.
I hope so. Man,
People are going to be scared to click it. Just note it. People will be scared to click it.
I mean, I'm going to click it, but I'm going to be scared clicking it.
So am I.
Going to click it.
He's fragile, but
yeah. I mean, listen, he's fragile, but he's also got 30. So no, crew, we're not doing the Logan Thomas. I can't stomach the Logan Thomas anymore. So we're holding off on Logan.
I'll be looking just real quick. I'll look at Miami. So Miami, I just want to see if there's any weakness I'm missing real quick. So they've been pretty good against quarter. Their defense has actually been better than people think. I mean, they've been really good against running backs. So I wouldn't even think about running backs, receiver. You can get them a little bit through the receiver though. They've had 5 top 10 receiving things against them. I think we're onto it here. Receivers, tight ends. I mean, Logan's not the play. The receivers, we got it. The receivers for Washington.
All right, receivers for Washington. That's a good game to start with. Let's go to the Chargers and the Patriots here. Patriots, 6-point dogs at home to
Talk
the
about
Los
a
Angeles
dicey
Chargers.
game.
I mean, this game, first of all, the Patriots don't want to win. They want to lose. Second of all, the Chargers have been the most disappointing team all year. Can we say
last
the Chargers?
2 decades? They're the most disappointing team of my lifetime.
You know what though? The Chargers, they did run up against the Patriots during when they were good with like Rivers and LT, and those Patriot teams were good. I mean, they did
even
have
like
good
in the
games.
Schottenheimer times though, they would go like 14-2 and then lose in the playoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it. They just have
I still think this has to be the most. At least they won, Tony.
Yeah.
Like in the regular season, at least they won. Like these.
I mean,
teams,
they're 4-6 or something right now. Whatever it is, 5-6.
3 and like 3 and something, aren't they?
Whatever they are, it's disappointing. I don't know their exact record.
I gotta look at. I think it's 3 and something.
They got more than 3 wins, but it's just because we're in week like 13 or something now.
They have. I'll tell you right now. I just pulled it up. They got 4 wins. 4-7 is their record. So you're right. More than 3.
That's just criminal.
That's so bad. But all right.
At what point do we start giving Herbert some shit too? Like he gets a free pass. All these other guys like he needs some criticism
every year. He gets an injury and plays through an injury every year.
And every year the coach gets blamed. I sent the tweet the one night and it wasn't about the Chargers, but why do the coaches always just have to get blamed? Why can't it ever fall on the players? Like Herbert,
because it can't be the players' fault. They try so hard.
It's like
I sent a tweet after this game that Herbert is the anti-Hurts.
Yeah,
he puts up the stats. He looks good, and he just doesn't know how to win. And the responses are, but Staley. Yeah, Staley sucks. But so what? A lot of people have bad coaches.
Yeah.
A lot of people have guys who drop the ball. You still have Eckler, Keenan Allen, Jared Everett. Like, you know what?
Look how much more talent that he has than Mahomes.
Have a game-winning drive occasionally.
Way more
every
talent.
Once in a while.
Some of his guys are injured, and he still has way more talent. Like even with those injured guys.
It's preposterous. I mean, Justin Fields let a fucking comeback
Yeah.
on the road, but Justin Herbert never ever does. And I love Justin
Ever.
Herbert. Like he's been the dude that I've been pumping up. But at some point,
We all love
like
him. That's my point.
enough already. Enough already. Lead a game-winning drive. They were down 3. All they needed was a field goal.
Yeah.
I never thought he was going to do it. I'm just like, all right, he's just going to fail like he always does. And sure enough, they fucking fail. And I'm off this team. I'm so annoyed by this Chargers team. I'm so off them. I don't want to play them anymore. But I hate the Patriots so
The
goddamn
problem
much
is now they play New England, though.
yeah,
And New England doesn't want to win. They don't want to be there. So
Oh.
I gotta go with the Chargers here. I can't take New England. Like that team.
I think there's an opportunity for it will end up chalky if it ends up happening, but I think the best play on the slate is if he comes back from IR is Josh Palmer. He's 3,000 and he's supposed to come back this week off the IR. He's 3,000 and the Chargers absolutely hate Quentin Johnson and Guyton sucks. Like he's going to run every route. The dude makes catches. He's the only guy who ever really balls out other than the big two for the Chargers. And he's 3,000 and he's going to be in there every snap if he's back. He's still on the IR, but Draftkings has him listed on the IR, so they put him at 3K, but he's supposed to come off this week. And there's a reasonable chance he does. I picked him up in multiple leagues just to have him in case. So keep a look on that later in the week. I think Josh Palmer, like he frees up, we're going to want to play these big games with these big players. Like, we just talked about the Dolphins game. Like you got to find salary relief somewhere. And if you get a guy who's going to, run every pattern and catches balls, like Josh Palmer's actually a good football player, despite what people want to say.
I mean, if Josh Palmer plays this week at 3K, he's going to be massively owned. Like,
yeah, I said that. I'm just.
But
saying,
he's a great. I agree with you. He's a good play. Like either way, he's just a good receiver. So I'm with you.
50K guy we need in this week.
Please do it. Do it for us.
Those are the guys we need this week bad. He's got to play this week for us.
So other than that, though, like, are you? I'm probably not playing anyone else. I think you could play like the Chargers defense is 4K. Can't go there.
No, I think the Patriots D is the Patriots D is the one. Like in the lineups I was building, it's like I couldn't really find like a punt defense, and I'm like, I mean they're good enough. The Chargers offensive line gives up a lot of sacks. They'll probably be the chalk low on though because there's nobody down at the bottom that you really feel comfortable with. So, but yeah, I mean this figures to be a lower scoring game, I guess. I mean, if you wanted to get contrarian and play, like the Chargers are a very easy team, like especially if no Palmer. Like, I mean, the big three, you just play them and like they're so condensed, if they go off, which is always possible. I mean, they have skills, so you could you could compete with some of these other teams. But that's just if you want to do something like that. As for the game and betting wise, it's Chargers or nothing for me. I'm just not betting the Patriots the rest of the year.
Tony, same thing.
I mean, I will just note that just according to my numbers in the flowchart stuff, the New England passing game is in a good spot at these prices. I don't think I can do it after the Mac Jones week. I'm just saying, Zappy's 4,800. Hunter Henry, in particular, is 3,100, and Demario Douglas is 4,300. So those three are the ones that kind of stick out. Where just saying like that Millie, not in the big Millie, but in the big field Millie, you play Zappy, you play Douglas, you play Henry, and then you can run it back with Keenan and Eckler. And you got a lot of good guys in this game where if somehow it does, you got two teams that could quit. That's when we get to the second half of the year. I like matchups where two teams could quit because it can snowball on you. With these teams, if they really don't try as hard on D or don't come to play, you could get boat raced in a hurry with some points. So I just wanted to note that because I know some people like weird matchups.
If you want to play something on the Patriots, in my opinion, Devontae Parker has always had the skill set, and he's finally healthy. He got a few targets last week, and he's 3,300. So, like, that's the guy who can win a contested ball. He can go deep. I mean, Demario Douglas is safer because he runs those short patterns. He's like Wan'Dale Robinson type guy. But the guy who can actually go up and snag you 2 touchdowns and 100 on 4 catches is Devontae Parker.
Yeah,
and
I think
3,300.
Douglas is in the concussion protocol still too, so they might not even have him. So we'll see on that.
I mean, if he's somehow out, and like you're telling me, this is where tournaments get dicey because, I mean, I'm just telling you, Devontae Parker at 3,300, Thornton at 3K, even Juju at 3,2. Like, these guys are dirt cheap in a good matchup against a team that could easily quit. So I'm not saying go crazy, but I think you should note some punts in this game.
And Zappy will
He'll chuck
throw it. Like, he will chuck it. Yeah, I mean, he's not good, but
I think the spot's better than people. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I think it's playable.
That's why I like Parker more than some of these other guys, because the other guys have to win on a precisely timed ball. Like, I mean, the way that DJ Moore wins is because Justin Fields puts the ball on the screen in the spot that he can take it and go with it. Zappy's not putting the ball in a spot where Demario Douglas is going to take like the 3-yard pass and take it and house it. But if he just throws it up for grabs and Devontae Parker comes down with it, well, now you got points. So like, that's kind of why I would like a Parker type more than, a Demario type.
The more you shit on Demario, the more I like him. I think
I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying like.
Your point you're making is a good point. I agree.
He's so far better for a floor guy. I'm just talking about if you're playing the $15 milli or whatever it is.
These are good. These are better options than people are going to think. I'm feeling good about it.
Okay, the problem is just which one is it? I guess is the real problem.
I think it's like pretty clear. Like, I think ODB kind of just broke it down good. If Douglas plays, he's pretty. I mean, he's been in double digits like 5 straight weeks, and he doesn't have a touchdown. So that's pretty safe for that price. And then Parker at 3,300.
I mean, Douglas has to be pretty questionable. He got the concussion.
If he doesn't play, I mean, man, you got all 3K receivers against a team that could quit. And Zappy wants to chuck. I think this game is way better than people are going to think.
Nobody's going to play. Nobody's going to play them. I mean, they scored 7 points against the Giants, and they scored 7 points against the Colts the last 2 fucking games.
I liked Ramondre last week, so I like him this week too.
I think he's the guy I could get on board with too. So yeah,
and he got 20 plus carries the last 2 weeks. So I mean, that's pretty good.
I put Ramondre in my lineup last week. He was good.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty solid play here too. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with Crew. That's the type of team I was thinking though. Like, you could play Zappy with that, and then get in there with Tyreek Hill, and you get in there with some big guns in there.
Don't play fucking Zappy.
If Josh Palmer's in and you played Zappy, Josh Palmer, and one of those 3K guys from the Patriots that you liked with Tyreek Hill, there's a team right there. Tyreek Hill and H-Chan, Tony.
H-Chan's going to crush this week for us. I can feel it.
All right, let's go to the next game here. We've got Detroit and the Saints here. 4-point spread. Detroit's favored in New Orleans. 46 is the total in this game. And I will say Detroit's defense has been struggling a little bit. No, I'm not on mushrooms. Never done mushrooms, actually, but there's a first for everything. Never been asked that, so do I look stoned? I don't know. Tony, do I look
always
stoned? Yeah, sometimes I guess. But either way, Detroit's been struggling, and now they get a Saints team who is also kind of been struggling, and now they're down a bunch of guys, I think at the wide receiver position, right? Chris Olave's in the concussion protocol. I think Shaheed suffered a quad injury, and he looks questionable, doubtful.
Most of those guys aren't. I don't think any of those guys are going to play, honestly.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, but I'm just what they have is what they have. Kamara's been down the last 2 weeks. I mean, Tony, not as many, at least it seems that way, not as many dump offs as like some of those crazy games where he's getting 12 or 13. He did have 5 targets last game, but could this be a Taysom week? Could we get a nice Taysom week here? I kind of liked his role last week. He just didn't like convert the touchdowns, but like I thought he got a lot of work last week, Tony.
He still got 7 carries, and he got 2 targets in the passing game. I mean, he did what he does. He just didn't score, like you said. If he scored, he would have had 15, 16 points. And whenever you want to play him is when they're down guys, and they're down guys this week. I mean, they're going to depend on Lynn Bowden. I mean, this dude is a gadget guy as it gets, but that's the kind of stack that works good with Taysom. So, like, gadget guys play good with him because he's a gadget guy. So, I don't know. I don't love New Orleans, but it does feel like a good Taysom spot. I don't see a ton there. And Detroit, I mean, Detroit's been struggling against the passing game more than anything. And New Orleans, I'm not worried about the pass as much. So I think that Detroit gets right here. I think Detroit gets back on track a little bit. And we love the Packers. That was one of our best calls last week, was being on the Packers outright over Detroit. We called it on the show last week. So I like that, but I'm back on Detroit this week. I think Detroit handles New Orleans. And the flip side to the Taysom argument is, what do I always say? You want Taysom in winning scripts. So if you think Detroit handles them, you don't want him as much. You want him when he's in there pounding the ball, getting the ground game going. So that's the flip side. And I don't love Detroit either. I do like the price tag on Gibbs. I still stand by my take 2 weeks ago that he's the guy and he's going to get more. It didn't look like that on Thanksgiving because the game went a little weird, but I think they come right back with Gibbs in this spot. But again, New Orleans isn't a cupcake. I don't love this game, but I do love Detroit on the betting side. I think Detroit handles them for us.
All right, so you like Detroit. I do think Detroit wins too, so I'll go there. I just feel like some of these injuries are going to be tough. I mean, they're down 3 receivers probably for this game. I mean, that's going to be tough. And Derek Carr's not been very good this year either. He's been very up and down. So I do smell, Tony, though, we're going to get like a 1,000 check down game from Kamara. Like, this is going to be the game we dread.
Stop speaking it into existence.
I'm just telling you, this is going to be the game we dread. But ODB, who do you got here? You got the Lions or the Saints?
Big T, I'm with him on this one. I think this is a good get right spot for the Lions. I mean, the Saints are decimated on injury. People haven't even really noticed since Marshawn Lattimore went out. Like, that's really has taken the heart and soul out of this Saints defense. This is definitely a get right spot off of extended rest and 2 poor games. I still believe in this Detroit team. Every team goes through literal cycles. I think this is a good get right spot for Detroit. But on the DFS side, I don't really like the Detroit guys just because I think it's kind of a spread around and all their dudes are pretty well priced. If you want to play some, fine. But I do love 2 guys from New Orleans. I think, first of all, Kamara is in just an absolute perfect spot. I think they're going to be down and they don't have anybody else to go with. I know you hate him, but this is a 16 target, 13 catches. And if he falls into the end zone, he's just going to, he's going to score. And also Detroit really puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So I think they're going to call more screens. So the screen game is kind of where Kamara thrives. Also, Juwan Johnson was very active in the game. I played him on one of my teams, so I was really watching him, and he seemed to really – this was the first game. He seemed to be healthy and part of the offense. He's low-priced. He's like $3,400. There's a lot of good tight ends options this week, so I don't think he'll be that high-owned, especially since Freiermuth was going to be the chalk, and he's not much more expensive. So Juwan Johnson in the dome with no Olave, no Shaheed, no Michael Thomas. He seems to have a pretty good rapport with Derek Carr. So I think Juwan Johnson is a really good play this week at tight end.
Yeah, he's probably going to be wide receiver 1, even though he doesn't play wide receiver. I mean, that's probably what he's going to be for.
Hey, he's an end zone target, and he gets some regular targets. Like, he does all, and he's capable of taking it up the seam for 30-yard touchdown. Taysom Hill, like, we don't even need to discuss him. Like, you're not playing Taysom Hill at 5,200. Like, you're just not. That's ludicrous. So, I mean, he's 5,200. You can actually get real tight ends for that price. You're not playing him. He's a good guy to have when he's cheap, and whatever, but you're not playing him at 5,200.
You're going to be rooting hard for him for the 50K best ball team.
I mean, I hope he does well, but I mean, it's not going to hurt me in DFS because nobody's fucking playing Taysom Hill. at 5,200.
That's true. No, he's going to be very low on. So, all right. We agree on this game for the most part, all on Detroit. And I think the Saints cheapies are more the plays. Kamara, if you want the safe play, is definitely Kamara. It seems like a safe bet to get a bunch of catches this week. So let's go to Arizona and Pittsburgh here. 5.5-point spread in Pittsburgh. They're favored at home. 41 is the total in this game. And we just saw the Rams, just Kyron Williams, just come back from the IR and just absolutely destroy this team. And, now they get Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh has been running the football a lot better recently. And I think it was Tony who brought it up on the Wood Show. I think it was the Wood Show maybe, but about how Pittsburgh's, it was like the first time ever this year they were like a plus on your sheet for running the football or something like that. So I do remember you saying that. Najee Harris had one of his better rushing days, 6.6 yards per carry last week. Now he gets Arizona. And Jaylen Warren, who's looked really good this year, gets Arizona as well. So I think that's an interesting spot. Problem is, which one do you go with? And who do we got here? I'll go with ODB first. What do you got?
Just talk from the betting side. I think this is a little bit too much respect for Pittsburgh. I understand that they moved the ball, had their first 400-yard game, but I'm not really looking to lay, what are they now? Are they 5 or 6 or like 5 and a half, I guess right now.
Yeah.
5.5. I'm not looking to lay 5.5 with this Pittsburgh offense. I know the Cardinals aren't that good, but like if I'm laying 5.5, I want teams that can score, high 20s, and yeah, they can, but I don't know. It's just not for me. This is take the points game. I think Jaylen Warren will be semi-popular. Everybody saw Kyron, and everybody's seen Jaylen Warren's skills. I actually played Jaylen in one of my lineups last week because I thought that they had kind of made that transition, and then all of a sudden Najee resurrected from the dead. So I don't know. I don't really feel that confident in either of them. They're both fine, and they're both going to do fine. I'd be plenty fine playing one in season long or something, but I don't. It's just kind of coin flippy which one gets the touchdowns. As for the Cardinals side, Pittsburgh D is pretty good. So, I mean, whatever. If you want to fall on somebody, they have cheap receivers. If Wilson's out and whatever, you can play them. But I don't know. Not really a game that I'm going to explore much. I mean, the real decision is, do you play for Freiermuth? He was so heavily involved last week. They obviously made a very big push to get him involved. And also you saw Tyler Higbee, who hadn't done anything. He scored 2 touchdowns versus the Cardinals. So I'm going to assume the flow chart probably is liking tight ends versus the Cardinals. So you have a team that's not very good versus the tight ends versus a tight end that they got involved a lot last week. I think really the inflection point for this game to me is, do you eat chalk on Freiermuth or do you not?
Yeah, I mean, it is early in the week, but I'm probably going to lean towards not eating the chalk if he's going to be very popular. I like the running games more. I would rather pick one of these two guys to go. I mean, I'm going to probably pick Jaylen Warren. I didn't like him last week because I knew he was getting steam, and I knew people were kind of gravitating to it. And I knew it wasn't going to just be his backfield. I don't even think the people playing Jaylen Warren last week fully believed that he just like surpassed Najee big time. It was just more like he's got more upside. Like Najee's a plotter. Jaylen Warren's got like the 70-yard touchdown upside run. And if he houses one like he did 2 weeks ago, he's going to score 25 fantasy points. And that's what he did like 2 weeks ago. So I think that's more what it was, Tony. It wasn't like, oh, he's for sure taking over. It's just more like, no, he's better. And I'm just going to keep with that take because I've had that take this whole year. I had it before the year started. That's why I wasn't drafting Najee in best ball. And, like he's just, I don't think he's as good, whether it was because of the injury, whatever it was from last year. He hasn't looked right since, and I'm just going with the take. So I like Warren, and I'm probably going to be lower on Freiermuth if he's going to be very chalky. What do you got?
So, yeah, I mean, the one thing I'm very confident on is Najee and Warren are definitely going to be 50-50. You're going to have to get a little lucky. I'm with you on the Warren side, but don't be surprised at all when Najee's the one that gets the 2 or 3 touchdowns, because it definitely could happen. And some of the stuff you guys touched on is interesting with the flow chart. I brought it up last week, like you said. Maybe the sneakiest team in football. This is exactly what I said last week. Pittsburgh running game. The last 6 weeks, 2, 4, 6. The last 6 weeks, they got 5 top 7 rushing performances, which is better than anyone in football outside of Baltimore and Detroit. Like 2 great running teams. They're like 3rd best behind those teams. And Arizona is just terrible against running backs. The interesting part, so that's the nut matchup for sure. The interesting part, though, is the second part, what ODB said. The first time all year Arizona got beat by tight end was last week. Before that, they didn't have a single tight end carve them all year long. Going into last week, they were the number 1 team against tight end in all of football, which is surprising to me. They had 0 weeks. There's no other team in football that had 0 weeks against tight end. And then Tyler freaking Higbee crushes them. So the flow chart's been good, a lot of areas. That's a weird one to me, how it could be like, that just could be an anomaly, though. It could just be a random. So I'm definitely off Freiermuth, though. The way Arizona was before last week, I'm off of it. So, but I like the running game a ton. The hard part is exactly what you guys said, though. You could play Warren and Najee could get the 20, or you could play Najee and Warren could get. You got to guess right, and that part sucks, because I don't care what anyone says. Me and JSU like Warren. You could just as easily be wrong. It's a true coin flip. So I don't know what to tell anyone as far as that. Hope you get lucky. Hope you roll the dice and you're the one that gets the touchdown. So
I mean, it's not like we're trying to be honest with. It's not like we think, okay, Warren's going to take over. We just want to be honest. Like, it's a 50-50 thing, and they're both going to get probably what, Tony? 13 to 18 touches in the game. And
who gets the touchdowns?
Who gets them? Yeah. If there isn't, who gets the touchdowns? If they score, who's getting them? It's literally almost a coin toss. I just feel like Jaylen Warren, in his 13 to 18 touches, has a better chance of housing a long one than Najee does. And so in my head, I'm just going to go with that take of he's better. I think he's got a little more upside, but could Najee go and score 2? Of course he could.
The other guy, also, too, that you have to just take note of is Deontay. I mean,
I'm not taking note of that dude.
Huh?
That dude's a quitter. I refuse to play him. Quitter.
Yeah,
I refuse.
He's 5K and he gets 8+ targets every week. I think you should take note of him against Arizona.
Quitter. I will not play a quitter. I refuse to. Spencer, this is the second person. Ketamine. I've not done drugs. Maybe I'm just tired, Tony. Maybe I'm tired. Someone said I was late because I got laid. I mean, I was late because I got laid. I wish that was the reason I was late. I wish that was the reason. My wife's at work. So, yeah.
How about this Deontay Johnson? How about this Deontay Johnson log? 8 targets for 9 points, 8 targets for 3.6 points, 4 targets for 2.7 points.
Hashtag stud quitter. Don't play a quitter.
Poster boy.
Yeah. Seriously, Tony, what do you think when you watch that game and you see that dude, just the ball's rolling right by him and he's just like standing there? You're just like, oh, it's fine. Good work, Deontay. You're cool with that?
Pittsburgh sucks. I hate Pittsburgh.
Who said it in the chat? Are they the worst 7-4 team you've seen?
They get the whole division loses their quarterback. Like, they're just so freaking lucky.
They
pissed me off last week. They played the Bengals last week, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the backup had Pittsburgh beat the whole game, and then they win the second. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it was. They've done this all year, though, Tony. They've won games they shouldn't have all year.
People are
Arizona.
People are going to line up to lay 5.5 with this team. No, thank you. Just take the points. You might lose it, but just take the points.
There's some games this week that are just tough because I don't want to take Arizona either. I just don't want to.
I
take
don't either.
Pittsburgh.
But look, if the Steelers are laying 5.5 points, I'm in. I like the Steelers when they're getting 4 points versus the Ravens or something I'm not laying a touchdown with this fucking team. All right, let's move on to a game that matters. Stupid game.
Not taking that. Can promise you that. I will say, though, I do have a betting slip plus 600 on the Steelers to win the division. I almost forgot about it because I bet it before the season.
It's okay. You can forget about it. It's worth it.
I'm just saying, though, that they're only 2 games back, I think.
It's worth it until Lamar gets injured like the rest of the division.
Yeah, that's true.
It's live again.
That's true. I actually did think, though, at that point, so I'll throw myself under the bus, but I did think at that point that Kenny Pickett was a good quarterback. I will take my L on that being wrong, but that's why I bet it.
Man, he's bad.
Bill Simmons put him as the number 1 seed this year.
Oh, Phil Simmons. Okay.
All
Where
right,
are we at here?
let's move
Denver and Houston. 3.5 point spread here. 47.5 is the total. We've got one of the hottest teams in football right now, Tony. One of the hottest teams. You don't even deserve to go first to talk about the Denver Broncos. So ODB is going to talk about them first. We got the Broncos here. They're on a winning streak right now. They beat some good – the Chiefs – the Chiefs suck, so I shouldn't even put them in the boat. But they beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. What more does this team have to do? They're rolling right now. They're feeling good. Everyone was doubting them after like 4 or 5 games. They said, this team sucks. Sean Payton sucks. Russell Wilson sucks. All these guys suck.
Fire the coaches. Fire Sean Payton.
Yeah, fire Sean Payton. The guy's 4 games in. Let's fire him. Just fire the whole coaching staff. And yeah, the Broncos defense is real. Thank you.
What happened in that game versus Miami? Seriously. Like, what happened?
What do you think?
Look, you gotta break the NFL season up. People, the NFL season is not 18 weeks long. There's like every team has its like revolving 4 or 5 game stretches, and you have to put so much more weight on what people are doing now. I know that people want to say, that's variance and that the regression and all this stuff, but that's just not how it works. There's injuries, there's scheming that they're trying to do, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and they ride it and then they get figured out. And look, the Broncos, I was ahead of the bandwagon that the Broncos suck, and we never bet Broncos, and I rode them when they were losing. But it's time to not be stubborn. Like, this team is decent. They're playing well. You mentioned all those teams they won. Cleveland had, what we're calling one of the best defenses in the league, and they put it to them. Let's just call it what it is. Am I frozen? What the?
Yeah, you are frozen.
And
I love listening. I love listening to you talk while you're frozen. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful.
Yeah,
thing.
beautiful. It's perfect time for me to freeze when Wiley doesn't even know who I am, looking at my fucking frozen face on there.
Tony, don't you love listening to ODB when he's frozen?
I love where his face is locked up too. I love.
You know what? I'm on a roll. I'm just gonna finish this one out.
Yeah, finish.
The Broncos are not. First of all, the Texans. I love the Texans. I bet them over to start the season. Every single show I was on, that's all I did was talk about Texans. I love what CJ's done. I like this Texans team. They're getting way too much respect in this spot. The Broncos plus 3.5 is definitely the play. This is a coin flippy game. This line should be 2.5, and it should not be 3.5. So I will definitely be playing the Broncos. I think this game plays more towards an under, so I'm probably not going to play much DFS wise. But the targets are pretty concentrated on the Texans towards Dell and Collins if Noah Brown's out. So if you want to put those guys in, but they're finally getting priced appropriately. So
yeah, they're definitely getting up there to where the prices are starting to reflect what they've been doing, which is good. Tank Dell honestly deserves the $7,400 price tag. He's been unbelievable. And Nico Collins has been really good too. Both these guys have been awesome. So it does seem most weeks like it's one or the other, but these guys have both gone off together a few times too. But Tony, the
They
Broncos.
both went off for me when I had my biggest week of the year, so
Yeah,
I know they can both
exactly.
go off.
Yeah, exactly. But the Broncos, Tony, I want to talk about the Broncos because you were a Broncos hater, and I want it to be known that the offense is not great. Everyone knows that. But as a team, we're seeing this in the NFL right now. Offenses are not very good right now. We're seeing it. Like, we're seeing bad quarterback play constantly throughout the NFL. It's causing for, not great offensive output, but the defense is real. The coaching staff, I think they needed some time. They needed a few games, get their feet wet, right? I think they're starting to figure it out. And Russell Wilson has not played good, but he's played good enough to win football games right now. And that's the point. And like Josh Dobbs was like the greatest story. Oh, he's amazing. Oh, he's great. But like Josh Dobbs had a come back down to earth moment against the Chicago Bears. This stuff
He
happens.
had a big time come back to earth moment.
But that stuff happens. That's going to happen. It's the NFL. Like, these quarterbacks are not going to always have perfect games. And when Josh Dobbs goes out in 2 weeks and has a good game, we're all going to be like, well, where was that against Chicago?
To be fair about
Dobbs,
Dobbs, too, he was terrible, but there was like 3 tip balls of the 4 picks, too. Like, I didn't think he was – don't get me wrong. He was bad, but he wasn't as bad as people are giving him credit for.
Was he bad, or was he running scared from the Bears?
It was both for sure. I mean, the Bears D is underrated too. The Bears D is kind of like the Broncos D.
Where's Prez at? Prez, let's stand up, baby. Prez, stand up for the Chicago Bears defense. Me and Prez, we were on it. We tried to tell you, Tony. We tried to tell you about that damn defense. It was Prez's play of the day too. I'll give Prez credit. This is play of the day. JSU was on it with them. Tony did not like the defense. We tried to tell him, but he wouldn't listen to us. He was being stubborn. I try to tell him sometimes. He's really stubborn, though, and ODB's back, so ODB knows. But, Tony, talk about the Broncos here, because I'm with ODB. 3.5. I'll take the dog here in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I like Denver. Denver just looks good. I've always been a Sean Payton fan. He's just doing a good job. They still don't have a great roster, so I do think it's a little fluky, but their defense, I think, is good. And I think Russ sucks, but if they can somehow come into a quarterback, I mean, they're not – that's the good part about the NFL, the way the NFL's set up. It's not that far off for anybody. You only need a couple – like look at Houston, for example. They were the worst team the last several years. They get a quarterback, some receivers. Now they're working their way in the right direction in a hurry. So the prices are expensive, but I will say too, like a lot of people look at Denver defense. That's what I look to. But this total's high, 47.5. And one of the reasons why I talked about Washington to start the show, Houston is right there with Washington as far as incredible game flow. They want to chuck it deep. They want to throw a bunch. Perfect game flows. Their defense isn't great. It just leads to great fantasy atmospheres. So I think this is a great over spot, actually. Even though Denver's offense hasn't been great and their defense has been good, that will push people to think under. I think the under is a little bit of a mirage here. I think we see points, and I think there's a lot of sneaky guys, even on the Denver side, where – I mean, you got Sutton 5,400, Judy 4,700. I mean, those prices are good. Mims is a 3K guy. He almost did house one last week. The ankle tackle got him. I think this game is pretty sneaky as far as fantasy. The prices are high on Tank Dell and Nico now, but man, they're good. They should be high. They were low for too long. You got Stroud at 8,100 now. 8,100 for Stroud. No one's going to play him against Denver. I'm just saying there's something to be said for teams that just want to chuck it all around the yard. It's a good atmosphere. Perfect conditions, too, inside. I think this is one of the sneakier spots of the whole week fantasy-wise. But as far as the game, I'm definitely on Denver with you guys.
Yeah, Tank Dell, if you didn't watch the game last week, he had like a 70-yard bomb. CJ Stroud threw him an absolute dime, and I can't remember if he dropped it or got called back on a penalty. It was
he got called back on. It got called back on motion.
Oh, on motion. That's right. Yeah, it was
something.
motion. But it was such a good pass. It was perfect. And I played Nico Collins, so it wasn't like that like helped me or anything. But I was just like, that play has to stand. That pass was a dime, and it wasn't held up because of that stupid motion call. But these guys have so much upside, and
So much upside, literally unlimited upside from this team.
Yeah, CJ Stroud with one or two of these receivers, and you got a monster stack on your hands.
You mentioned two Denver receivers. There's a small difference between Sutton and Judy. One of them is good at catching the football, and one of them sucks.
Tell him, ODB. Fucking tell him.
Jared Judy sucks. He sucks at the wide receiver position. He's just fucking terrible. Yeah, he might win one week. He might win for you one week, but I'll just fade him for the rest of my life, and I'll probably come out ahead more weeks than not. Sutton makes great fucking plays. Sutton's actually a good football player. Judy stinks.
Why does it feel like that Cortland Sutton, even though he's so good and he always ends up making a play, ODB just doesn't get enough volume to smash.
Yeah,
That's the issue
maybe he just can't separate, and he's just good with his hands. Whereas Judy can separate, but he's got hands of MVS.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, the targets, he's getting 5-6 targets most game. He's gotten 11.
Part of it is how Denver's played, though. Too. They're going to play up tempo here against Houston. You're going to get more of that. Sutton's a great play. Sutton is a freaking great
listen,
play.
if Houston gets up on them, they're definitely going to. And if Houston gets up on them, Javante's going to be a good play too. He got 6 targets last week. I think they're slowly starting to use him more in the passing game.
Tony, the under came in. I had under 60-minute mark that JSU pimps out Javonte Williams. We won. I cashed the under ticket for the 38th straight week.
I haven't talked about him in weeks. He hasn't been on a main slate in forever, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm sure you played.
I will say one thing. These teams with 3 running backs tilt me to no end when when you're waiting. I was so tilted from Keaton Mitchell in that Baltimore game. The dude looks like Barry Sanders out there, and then they're giving the ball to these other guys. It literally infuriates me.
I mean, at least they did play him on 1st and 2nd down early to begin the game. I
just don't understand, though, why they can't get more workload. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, because you got to give Justice Hill third down work.
Freaking Hill.
And then you got to give Gus Edwards the goal line work.
At least I can understand that, though. Gus Edwards, inside the 20, it's you, Gus. In between the 20s, it's you, Keaton. What is Justice Hill?
What they need to do is this needs to be what Detroit was last year. They need to be Gus Edwards needs to be Jamal Williams, and Keaton Mitchell needs to be Swift,
and there never needs to be
actually use Swift like he was supposed to be used. I mean, it's just as simple as that. But yet Justice Hill just steals all these carries. It's gonna start moving though. I mean, Mitchell's too good.
He's so good. Give him the ball.
He's
he was unowned. I'm tilting because I love Showdown. He was unowned.
If you put Mitchell on Miami, he would have smashed multiple weeks already in that offense. Absolutely would have smashed.
5% owned, and people don't realize how tilting that is to me. That was the great Showdown play, and he didn't freaking get there all the way. But same thing to my point though about Denver. It should be Javonte and it should be P. Ryan on passing downs. You don't need to play this other guy. He's fine, but you don't need to play him. Stop.
Yeah, or play the other guy and don't play P. Ryan, but play your horse.
P. Ryan is literally the nut pass catching, pass blocking running back. He is very good at that. He's the third down back. Let him play third down.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. He's a perfect third down back.
I will say though, I didn't realize it, but McLaughlin only got 3% last week. Did they finally stop playing him, or did he get hurt?
Yeah, he's not. No, they're not using him much anymore.
They're slowly fading him out.
So I like that. Then that's good. That does actually make me like Javonte even that much more. Seriously, he played 70% last week.
There's some good running back plays. There's a lot of good mid-tier running back plays. So you can.
Let's go, Tony. We're all in Javonte. Let's ride, baby. We're in.
I like Javonte and Sutton. I think this game's good. Javonte, Sutton with some Houston guys. Stroud is the man. Stroud is so good fantasy wise. I like this game.
Yeah,
Trevor, it's coming. Only 3 more hours. Trevor, we'll get to the late games.
I know we don't do this, Tony, but a rule of one of Tank or Nico on every team, would that be a bad rule?
as I've gotten better at 150s, I just don't think you set rules like that. But just
Okay.
you set a good projection on them, and you're going to get enough anyways. Like, I just don't think you do it.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to Atlanta and New York. Listen, some of these games we don't need to spend too much time
This
on.
is
I
one
think
for sure.
this is definitely one of them. I'm going to take Atlanta. 34 is the total. I don't even. It might still go under, Tony. I'm not messing with the total, but 2.5. I'll take Atlanta, and I'll move on. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, me too. I don't even. These are the games we got to save time on because
Save time.
I don't even want to like look at it and then we talk about something.
ODB won't even come on camera until we.
He's
leave
getting cold
this
in
game.
the Arctic. Get that sweatshirt on.
My house is freezing right now here in Vegas. It's like 60 degrees outside right now.
And such good timing for you to pull out that
Oh,
Jordan
it's
Run Pure
60
hoodie.
degrees outside.
This isn't the Run Pure one. Sorry. This is my Resorts World.
Did you hear him, Tony? He said it's 60 degrees outside.
Yeah.
You walk out my side. Outside, it's 30 degrees outside.
I guarantee
right
it's
now.
colder here
that was
than
why-
even in
that was
Boston.
why-
It's freezing.
Yeah, that's why I
Is
said
it cold? Is it colder?
It's been
than
20s
here?
the last like 4 days. It's
Yeah,
freezing.
it's 30 here. It's 30 here. So,
All right.
are we passing? ODB, Atlanta Jets.
The day I lay points with Desmond Ritter on the road versus a good defense, just fucking fire me into the sun. I'm not playing Atlanta. I'll play the Jets or nothing. I mean, this fucking Falcons.
God
team,
bless
no
you. God bless.
I mean, I'm not playing anything fantasy.
This is a teaser game for the record too. The low total, 2.5 spread. This is a great teaser game.
I'm not fucking laying points with Desmond Ritter on the road versus a good defense. I mean, if they're playing Washington, whatever, maybe, but the Jets defense, like they could just score enough points right there. No, thank you. But let's move on. We got to save time. We got
all right. Indy and Tennessee. Here we got 1 point spread here in Tennessee. It's 42.5 total with this game, and you
got our first stone cold lock chalk play of the year with Zach Moss. We've reached that point of the season.
Did we reach it? What is he like? 5K?
4,600. You're not fading 4,600 Zach Moss.
What if I am?
Then I don't think you're gonna do well. He is way too cheap.
He's so cheap.
He is like way too cheap.
He is really cheap. He's definitely
if they priced it today with no JT,
Tony,
he'd be 6,600.
He's going to be what, 60% on this?
He's
slate?
just going to be one of those mega chalks, that we get in the second half of the football season.
All right, well, there you go, mega chalk on this game. But what do you think of the game here? Do you think the Colts take it to the Titans? I
hate Tennessee games. Like Tennessee's a team that I think we got pretty low. I'll be honest. Like Henry was a flow chart last week. He got there, but I did feel lucky. I don't like how Henry looks. I felt lucky to get what we got, which he did get there, so that was fine. But I hate these teams. It's just Zach Moss for me. I mean,
you know what drives me nuts too about the Colts side? Gardner Minshew does not throw the ball past like 15 yards down the field.
At all.
Has anyone watched and noticed that? Like he has thrown the ball like between 5 and 12 yards down the field. Well, everything is run after the catch with like Pittman and Josh Downs. It's all like catch the ball and make a play.
Last week, he scored a rushing touchdown. He was in the nut matchup versus a team that can't stop the pass. His receivers did good, and he still got 15 fantasy points, even with the rushing touchdown.
To be honest, Jonathan Taylor did score twice in the goal line.
I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying, like, he scored a rushing touchdown, and he only got 15 fantasy points.
Yeah, and Michael Pittman.
That is why we should learn our lesson, though, and not ever play a guy like that, which last week we talked about this, over like a Josh Allen in a ceiling spot, because you literally can't beat those teams when he gets 40. You can't, no matter what else you have.
Yeah, no, you literally need the outlier 30-point game to beat them.
Yeah.
That's what you need. So I'll take the Colts, though, here. I just don't like what Tennessee's look like. ODB, what say you? They are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team, the Colts team, that I've really gotten a lot better at during the year, is just trying not to be stubborn on my priors. And my priors were the Colts were going to be the worst team in the NFL. I bet them under. I really thought they were going to suck. And the reality is they're very well coached, and I really like what Steichen's doing. And I played them. They were one of my favorite plays last week against the Bucks. This Colts team is feisty, and they're in the playoff hunt. That being said, on the road outside, not the best spot for Minshew. So I'm not in love with the actual game. I could make a case for Tennessee or for the Colts. Fantasy wise, I think Josh Downs is interesting if you just happen when you're building a lineup, you always end up with that one spot left, and you're trying to figure out if he comes in that price range and you're siding between defense up, defense down, and he comes. I think he's plenty fine to put in there because Tennessee isn't that great versus receivers. He gets a lot of targets. He's got a good floor. He does have somewhat of a ceiling. He is leverage off of Moss if you don't want to play Moss. I do agree that Moss is good chalk, but the reality is there are some really good running backs that are just a little bit more. So if you wanted to go on to Jaylen Warren, or I think Jerome Ford is a nice spot this week, and Rashid White he's much more, but a couple thousand more. Like there's Ramondre. There are other running backs that can do well. So if you did want to pivot off of them, if you have the right build, I don't think it's the worst thing because Tennessee is pretty good versus the run. Actually, they're really good versus the run. So, like his floor is good, so you're not going to get burned by playing him. But his ceiling is also like he could just be fine with a 15-point game, and you could get a Jerome Ford ceiling game or whatnot that's just a little bit more money. So I don't think he's like a must lock type guy, but I do think that he's definitely a fine play. It's just how your roster construction comes down. But I would be totally fine with playing Downs and fading Moss if you wanted to.
So one interesting thing too that I'm sure people will notice as the week goes. So this is why Zach Moss is a lock for everyone. I mean, the first 5 weeks he's playing literally 80+% of the snaps. You just don't get that these days from anyone. We just talked about 3-headed backfields, and they already played Tennessee in this same spot. You know what his stat line is without looking?
Crushed.
23 for 165, 2 for 30, and 2 touchdowns, 36 fantasy points in the same exact spot. And he's just 4,600 is the key.
Yeah. I'm not going to try and talk anybody off of Zach Wilson. I mean Zach Moss is a good play, but I mean it's also you're talking about indoors and a fast track versus outdoors.
I'm not saying he's going to get 36 again for the record, but
also
he doesn't need to though at that price tag.
Also, Tennessee plays a little slower. They want to run the ball with Henry. They want to keep possessions down. So you might not get like as many possessions as you do in some other games and some other spots because the opponent doesn't want to play fast. So those are just the negatives. I mean,
I'm definitely agreeing with you. I agree with your points.
I'm definitely not here saying like it's bad chalk. It's great chalk. I'm just saying I think you can make a case for both. And if you're putting together 150, then like that's what he is. Like I mean, you build some lineups anti-chalk, and you build some lineups with some chalk pieces, and you get off. You just have to be careful for your lineup construction. If you do play Zach Moss, then if Josh Palmer's active, don't play Zach Moss and Palmer together. Or something like that, like whatever the thing is, just kind of work your lineups that way. But Zach Moss is obviously a very good play. So, but I don't really have a take on the game itself. I think both these teams are mediocre.
About for years too, like mega chalk receivers that are cheap always bust. Mega chalk running backs that are in these spots, just man, I think you just play them and. It prevents it too. It just takes it out of the equation. Like if he busts, then everyone busts with it. You can still win with him busting because he's 70% owned. Like he just can't hurt you. He can beat you, but he can't beat you the other way. Is kind of why I think I don't know. I agree with everything ODB said.
The only reason you don't play him is I think if you're playing one team in the Millie Maker,
I agree.
And you're just like, hey, listen, I want him to bust. I want him to roll an ankle. I want him to have a shitty game or something, and I'm going to play my one team. And
that's a good example of why you'd fade him. One team where you know why you're fading it. So when he goes off, don't be mad. Like you know why you faded him.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. This is a big game though. For honestly, the Colts have like that They're 6-5 right now, and there's a bunch of teams grouped in there for the playoffs, kind of at 6-5, and they hold a few of the tiebreakers over those teams.
I just think
too,
Indy,
so.
like, this looks like an easy betting spot. Like, Indy's on the rise, like ODB said. We doubted them. Tennessee's definitely on the downslide a little bit. It just feels like a clear cold spot to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me too. I will say I'm going to root. I'm not going to bet this game because I'm going to root against the Colts because I'm rooting for my Broncos and Bills to get in the playoffs here. So I need to root
Broncos.
against.
Why don't you want the Broncos?
But you were Browns, aren't you? Browns?
Because I bet them to make the playoffs. I didn't listen when those odds flipped. I did not go away from my team. All right. I'm a homer through and through, okay? I like the Broncos before the year, and I stay with them. I bet them to make the playoffs. Everyone laughed at me, too. I bet them to win the division. Everyone laughed at me, too. It's fine. It's fine. You can laugh at me. Some of those bets won't win, but I'm still rooting for them, okay, Tony? We're not dead. We're still alive, okay?
You're more than alive. The AFC sucks.
And, I mean, right now, Pittsburgh – Cleveland, who both teams have.
This is why the damn show takes so long, ODB. I'm with you now. Now he's going down the Denver path again.
No, I'm saying that these teams suck ahead of them. That these teams suck ahead of them.
You want to pump up a reason to watch the show. How about the fact that Tony and I gave out Seattle not to make the playoffs 2 weeks ago?
That was like a
plus 300. And now I think there might even be a dog to make the playoffs. So we got him at plus 300 2 weeks ago.
That might have been the best edge we've ever given on this show. Like when we looked at that schedule and it said San Fran twice, Dallas,
Philly and Dallas. Yeah.
I mean,
it might not win.
Know why this show goes so long, guys. Here we go. Like these guys are do the thing.
That's why the show's so good. It was a good take, though. I'm with ODB on that.
It was a really good take. I'll give you guys credit. It was.
I still don't know. Gave y'all Jacksonville win the division.
I still don't know who's going to actually like. Is Green Bay going to come out?
Everybody that needed to win last week won though, so it was like Green Bay. Like I don't know who's going to do it either, but I know they're going to lose 4 in a row. So if they still make the playoffs after losing 4 in a row, then good for them.
So be it.
Minnesota was the only team that lost. Right?
Yeah, everybody won that needed to, and they got drilled. It was a good week for the bet.
All right, 3 more games here. We're at the 4 o'clock game, so whoever's talking shit about us not getting the 4, we're here. We're at the 4 o'clock games. 3 more games. Carolina and Tampa Bay. This is another game. I think we can be quick with this game here. 37 total. Tampa Bay is 5.5-point favorites at home. ODB?
I feel like Rashid White is just as chalky as Moss. This is why I don't feel like I have to play Moss, because we've talked about a lot of good running back spots, and Rashid White is in.
Call him Rashid White one more time. You sound like
whoever,
Rashad.
whatever. Rashad. What did I say? Rashid White. Whatever. I watch every single football game.
Here we go.
I literally watch every single football game. Do you know how many times I have the sound on the Tampa Bay game? About 0. The sound is always on a real game.
Anyways.
Anyway, I'm sure your flow chart's going to be all over him. If it was on Henry last week, and he gets targets, he gets the goal line work for the most part. He just gets everything. Baker Mayfield tried to sneak it in. He got absolutely fucking blown up and destroyed and hurt. They won't try that again.
That's what they get.
I think White is just going to be is a pretty nutted play at running back. As far as the game, it's always dangerous laying this many points with a bad team with the Bucs, but the Panthers are horrific. Absolutely horrific. And I don't think this coaching change, you're not going to get a dead cat bounce like you did with the Raiders, because the Raiders, they were playing a shitty team. Well, they're playing a shitty team too, but the Raiders have talent. The Raiders have talented football players. The Panthers don't have anything. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's coaching this team. Adam Thielen's your wide receiver 1, and who's wide receiver 2? DJ Chark. Get the fuck out of here. The running backs suck. The receivers suck. The offensive line sucks. Bryce Young is terrible. For me, it's Bucs or nothing. And I think White's a pretty good play. Evans always is a potential to go off, so you can always play him. Yeah, that's kind of my take on this game. If you want to play one of the defenses, the Bucs defense is plenty good at home. Bryce Young is clearly capable of throwing pick sixes. So if you want to pay up for D and you want to be different than some of the other guys, like Bucs will probably be low owned, and they do turn the ball over and they do get to the quarterback. So
I still don't understand why other teams have to try the tush push. Like, you suck at it. You're not as good as the Eagles. Stop trying to do the tush push with Baker Mayfield or any of these other shitty quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts is a freak athlete. The guy's like a specimen, and and that offensive line is a beast, and they just know how to do it. Perfected it. Everyone else in the league hasn't. Stop trying to do it and just run up the middle with your running back or something, or do like a run pass option with Lamar or Justin Fields or these running quarterbacks.
Or actually study why it works. Don't just do it. Like, figure out why it works.
All right, what do you like in this game?
They have it done. Like, I don't know why other teams tried, but Mike Evans he's got 3 legs, Tony. We said Mike Evans got 3 legs. The guy hangs up in the air for shitty ass balls that Baker just lobs up in the middle, tries to get him killed, and he just hangs in there and catches it. I don't know if you guys saw that one play that got him to the 1, but before Baker got hurt, but it was ridiculous. So you can definitely play Mike Evans at any point, but Rashad has to be like by far the number 1 play. And if Zach Moss was priced correctly, we'd be talking about like which one's a better play. But I'm going to play some Rashad here. I got to play a little bit of him. It's just the perfect spot. I like the Bucs. Carolina sucks. What do you got?
I haven't said this all year on the show, but it just shows how things change and how different. Rachaad White, 80% and 87% of the snaps the last 2 weeks. You can play him in the nut spot and Moss in a great spot in price. If you lock those 2 guys, like, they're just incredible plays. So many spots, like even some of the guys we talked about are in like the Pittsburgh. We like those guys, right? 50% snaps. Like, these guys are in good spots and 85% of the snaps. You're just in very, 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 very good shape with Rachaad White and Zach Moss. I'm giving serious consideration to just locking the 2 of them and just moving on to other stuff. Figure out, like ODB said, once we play those 2, then what do we do? Do we go to a sneakier stack at quarterback? How do we get different where I have a hard time finding these guys not getting enough to pay off their price tags and really getting you moving along. And the nice part about really going heavy on guys, even if they're chalk, when they do get there, you just have those spots filled on every team to where then you can get more creative and do stuff in different spots, play a different tight end, different defense. Because Tampa Bay's D, like ODB said, I think that's a great spend up. They're 3,600. If you play against Bryce Young every week, you're in good shape. And it's a combo with Rachaad White. I think playing Tampa Bay's defense gets you at least a little bit different. They're not going to be high owned at 3,600. Maybe they will because it's Bryce Young, but I love that move. So I'm all aboard these guys. I'm going to play Mike Evans every week. This is not as good of a Mike Evans spot for me. And I've been on him every week for 8 straight weeks. I talk him up. I'm not on him as much this week. Don't get me wrong. He's still going to be in like the speech I keep giving where I'm leaving him in the player pool. I'm not going to have much, though, like I have the last several weeks. It's Rachaad White for me in the defense, no doubt.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like a big Mike Evans week, but he can do it anytime.
Any week.
Any week. All right, we
were talking about the Panthers, so she wanted to come say hello. Cam wanted to come say hello, talk about the Panthers. Say hi, Cam.
All right. Cam, who's your favorite play on the Panthers side?
Cam Newton.
No one?
Cam Newton.
Yeah, I agree.
He's growling at Cam Newton. I heard a growl.
He's growling at you.
Oh, growling at me, Cam? You heard I didn't like Cam, didn't you?
He knows you don't like dogs.
Or
they
Cam Newton.
Can tell. They can tell.
Or Cammy.
Why do you think my dog sits on the couch looking depressed behind me all the time when I'm on the show with Tony?
Prez, his room's all dark again. It's not even dark outside, and his room's dark.
No,
yeah, you are a badass dog, Cam. I agree.
Screw you. My room is not dark. All right, we got two
Lally
more
called a
games
badass
here.
dog.
Let's go Cleveland and the Rams. We'll save the good game for last. Browns 3.5-point dogs to the LA Rams. 40-point total. The Rams did get back Kyron last week, and Kyron absolutely smashed. But this is definitely a tougher task here against the Cleveland defense. It is in LA. But Tony, what are we doing here with this game? I see an under in this game's future, and
I mean, this game, I'm glad it's in the afternoon because it looks like as easy of an ignore game as I've ever seen almost. And that includes betting. Betting wise, I don't like it either. It just looks like a game that, man, I like the defenses, I guess. I could be talked into both defenses. I mean, Stafford's good for a pick six at least a couple times a year. So my Browns D at 3,100, I could definitely play them. The issue is this time of year, I do want defenses that are outside a lot of the time. You got a perfect atmosphere here. I think this might just be a clear stay away from
Tony, you might have Joe Flacco starting at quarterback.
Well, maybe I will play the D then. If I could play a D against Flacco for sure.
I mean, wow, Joe Flacco's going to start.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I'm playing the Ram. I'm playing the because a lot of times when these backups come in, we're worried about the guy throwing. This guy's going to throw. Flacco wants to chuck. So, like,
can I play Cedric Tillman at 3,100, Tony? Can I leave him in the pool?
Who?
Cedric Tillman?
No.
I can't leave him in the pool at 3,100? No? Okay.
Not with Joe chucking, no.
You said he was going to chuck.
It didn't mean he's going to chuck well.
Yeah, that's true. All right, fine. Afternoon slate play. I'll play him in the afternoon.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we've learned this year. Whenever we like those weird plays, just play them in the afternoon slate.
Yep, afternoon slate. ODB, you got to play in this game?
I mean, for me, it's probably going to be Rams or nothing. This Cleveland team is just beat up. Myles Garrett's beat up. Don't have a quarterback. The Rams are playing good football at home. The defense isn't nearly as dominating as it was earlier in the year, so I'm not as scared of them. I kind of think Jerome Ford is a reasonable play at running back. The guy, I mean, last game, the Cleveland just got way behind and got all this weird shit happening, but he's clearly the guy they seem to like, that they like. They've kind of phased out Hunt for the most part. The problem is Hunt does get does kind of vulture some of those short yardage things, but he still hasn't been that good. I kind of think Jerome Ford is potential in an indoor environment at a cheap price tag, and it'll be low owned. So I kind of like him. Okay. But I kind of lean towards the Rams from a betting perspective, and I think the Rams, all their guys are a little bit too pricey, and there's too many of them for me to really make a choice. So I kind of think there might be some scoring going on by the Rams, but I don't really know who it's going to be, so I'll probably just stay away.
Yeah, I mean, it was at least nice to see Jerome Ford play 69% of the snaps last week, so I probably won't play him, but maybe in the afternoon. Maybe we'll see how that slate kind of shakes up. But let's go to the good game in the afternoon. We had two pretty shitty ones, but this game, at least from a real life perspective and a DFS perspective, probably a pretty solid game to target for DFS, and it should be a great game to watch. I think 2.5-point spread. San Francisco is favored. I said San Francisco is favored on the road in Philly, which I think is interesting. ODB, I'll throw it to you here first. I mean, two best teams, maybe two of the three best teams in the NFC, if you think the Cowboys are up there with them. But, I mean, they're pretty evenly matched to me. 2.5 points is interesting in Philadelphia for 49ers. What do you say about that?
Well, it's not often that I really talk about a game this early, this often on a lot of different things. But on Twitter on Sunday night, when I saw the line on this game, I just had to put it out there for people. And I made multiple calls to multiple people that I know who can get down early. And I bet the Niners at -1.5 and -120 money line. I thought that I mean, this is only the second time I've done this. The first time was Detroit when they were laying 1.5 versus the Chargers. There was nothing. I absolutely knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this line was going to move up, that the public is going to be all over the Niners. The sharps are going to be on the Niners. This is just going to be everybody is on the Niners, and they were going to have to move this line up. Now it's inching towards 3. It's almost 3. I think it's going to get up to 3. Look, this game is just the only thing that scares me about this game is it just looks too damn easy. The Eagles played a tough, physical, exhausting mental game against the Chiefs, and they held on and won on the road, beating the Super Bowl champ that they lost to. Then they went home. Everybody played Buffalo because they were going to, it's going to be a little tough for them to get up versus Buffalo after the Chiefs game. Buffalo was on the field for like 40 minutes in that football game, absolutely owned the Eagles for a majority of that game. They ran all the plays. The defense was gassed. Every defensive player came out of that game hurt, banged up, tired. They played in cold and rain. There's a chance that some of these guys even end up sick or like not feeling good at the, later in the week. Meanwhile, the Niners had basically a bye last week. They have 10 days off after playing Seattle, who absolutely quit in the first quarter. Like, this game was just over. They could do whatever they wanted. So you also have the NFC Championship revenge game where the Niners think that they would have won that game had Brock Purdy not got hurt, which they wouldn't have. So yeah, I mean, everything just lines up for me to take the Niners. The Eagles have been extremely lucky, which everybody has seen. So yeah, I just think this is an absolute perfect spot to take the Niners, and I'm on the Niners. And the first lineups that I've built have been a Brock Purdy stack, because Philadelphia is very bad versus the pass. And they have 3 good guys there, so you can pair them up with whoever you want, whoever you like. But I like Brock Purdy. I like the Niners. I love the Niners in this game. And yeah, that's my take on the game.
Tony Butthole in the chat saying, let Big T cook. I always let Big T cook. I'm ready to let Big T cook. So Big T, cook away, my man. How do you say no to these eyes, by the way, Big T? Look at these eyes. I mean, come on.
It's a dog.
Chad, this is what I have to deal with on a regular basis. I mean, this is ridiculous right here. I'm sorry.
If I took a picture from Thanksgiving, you guys would have laughed so hard because we were at her grandparents', obviously. Her mom and Amber's mom brought her 2 dogs, plus her grandma had 1 dog. And in their family room, like, I was sitting on the ground all day because I always like sitting on the ground because I can lean my back against the couch, and I was watching the football. These dogs were wrestling on me the whole day. And if I took a picture, they loved me. Like, dogs love me because I think they could tell I don't like them. But and then they were like wrestling each other on the whole day, like the whole day on Thanksgiving. These
Tony,
dogs.
I told you why dogs like you. I told you why. Do you remember why?
No.
Dogs always will go to the person who's like the man of the house. They always gravitate towards that person. So if they see someone as like alpha, man of the house type thing, they're going to gravitate
like that.
to
You're
them.
calling me an alpha. With all 80-year-old people and women, I was an alpha. That's
I mean, I hope so, bro.
You're the alpha of this show, Big T. Give us your Niners take, Mr.
Cook,
Alpha.
baby, cook.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with OD. I haven't given a Stone Cold lock in a couple of weeks. What was the last one we gave? We won whatever one it was.
The Niners, I think.
Was it the Niners that
you
time?
You gave the Niners versus Jacksonville. That was your.
Oh yeah, that was a stone. This is a Stone Cold lock. Everything ODB said, I agree. I don't need to repeat it. This is a signature game. Last year in the playoffs, Brock Purdy gets hurt 2 plays in. They have to watch these. I mean, I had people in my Twitter like, it was the blocking that got him injured, and you can't blame no quarterback for the blocking. I'm like, they lost their quarterback 2 plays in, and then Josh Johnson got hurt after that. Christian McCaffrey was ready to play quarter. What are we talking about, people? Like, what are we saying?
George Kittle was asking Brock Purdy if he was ambidextrous.
And people were like, on top of it, they were making fun of Purdy, like acting like he can just go in with the broken whatever he had wrong with his arm. I mean, the dude's not going back in. His arm's freaking broke. So this literally is a signature game for the Niners. They're glad it's in Philly. The best team in football is the San Francisco 49ers. They've proven it over and over again. They're as healthy as they've ever been. You beat Philly through the passing game. They got Debo healthy. They got Ayuk healthy. Kittle's healthy. They got the line healthy.
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams is healthy, and he's mauling people on these pull runs. Shanahan wants it. They all want it. This is Lock City as it gets. Pound this team and go collect your money.
So it's interesting. I 100% agree with you guys. I think this is a stone cold lock, San Francisco. And the first time I was against the Eagles was last week. I backed the Bills. Which obviously
we had the right team again. It's just some of these teams.
I'm fine with it though because I know that the Eagles are a good team. I'm not saying the Eagles are a bad team. I just thought the Bills, that was their shot, and they could have won. I mean, listen, Josh Allen throws it to the right side of Gabe's shoulder where he turned, or Gabe Davis turns the right way, however you want to see it. It's a touchdown. The game's over. He's wide open. Like the game's over.
The game was over if the dude misses a fucking 59-yard field goal in the driving
in the rain.
It was amazing, by the way. It was literally amazing. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Dude, it would have been good from 70.
Sometimes guys hit gut shot straight draws on the river. That's what they did, and then props to them. And we still got to push out of it. Or a win if you got 3.5.
Said it perfect though. Like Jalen Hurts is the opposite of these guys that this dude.
Yeah.
When all the chips are on the line, this guy comes through with plays.
And you can't it's tough to play him when you're up and they need to score at the end because you want to back off and keep everything in front of you. But if you do that, you're just giving Jalen Hurts easy reads, or he can run for first downs. So he's just so hard to kind of slow down and stop in those scenarios. But back to my point, Philadelphia the last few weeks has pretty much been trying to dare teams to run the football. They're showing light boxes, trying to force teams to run because they know they can't stop the pass, so they're trying to help the pass. You can't do that against the Niners. You literally can't give them run-friendly boxes. I don't care how good your run defense is. You can't do. The Chiefs ran against them, and listen, the Bills had some success running against them at the end of that game.
The Niners will run on anybody.
The Niners will crush them if they do that. So it's going to be really interesting. Either Brock Purdy's going to have a monster game through the air because they're not going to give him those run-friendly boxes, or Christian McCaffrey's going to have a huge game running the football. So
not only do I got a stone cold lock betting wise, and people know I like my Niners. I got a stone cold lock DFS play to go with our 2 running backs. You guys know who it is?
I mean, assuming it's from this game.
Well, yeah, it's from this game. Yeah,
George Kittle.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel, baby. It's Debo Day. Stone cold lock. I don't know who's why. I always pay attention to this stuff because I'm really a petty type person. He was chirping this secondary big time, saying they suck, they're overrated. And he wasn't hiding it either. He was looking right in the mic and saying these guys are bad. And you know what? When someone like Debo starts running his mouth, get me behind him because I'm going to play Mr. Debo this week. Get me in there on Debo.
My main lineup right now is Purdy Debo, so I'm with you on this one.
He is going to crush.
Listen, I wanted to play one of these San Francisco studs. So, I mean, Debo, CMC, Ayuk. I wanted to play one of them.
Debo falls into what you were saying, too, because he can beat them how? Through the pass and through the run. So, I mean, Shanahan's going to find a way for Debo to do that.
You can't give those options, though, to San Francisco. This is my point. This is back to my point. There's no way they can do it. They could do it against the Chiefs because the Chiefs wide receivers sucked, but they still had Mahomes.
Stop with the shitty receivers, Angie. Wasn't he the one earlier that didn't want us to play Tyreek? Stop with the great balls.
Jennings.
We're not playing Juwan Jennings. No.
I will say one thing about the Eagles and Debo. The Eagles are the type of team that they punch you in the mouth and teams cower and they kind of just pull back and they're scared and whatever. You punch Debo in the mouth, Debo's going to fucking punch you right back. And I mean,
same with all these Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah, all except Ayuk. Ayuk's kind of soft, but
He's just a receiver. He's
good,
not as tough
yeah.
as the other dudes. He is.
No, but I mean, he's not
But he's
Kittle or Debo.
talented. He's
Yeah.
talented, though.
He's just
Ayuk.
different than the other guys. He's more of a softy for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, Debo's gonna punch you, and he's gonna intimidate the defense. The defense don't intimidate Debo.
It's why no one like talks up Ayuk, even though Ayuk's had like the best season of all the pass catchers, but like no one like talks about him like that. You know what I mean?
And when big games come, I don't trust him as much as I trust Kittle with everything. I trust Debo with everything. CMC.
Tony, what does Andrew get if Jennings hits
4%? You get whatever gear you want in the shop, Andrew. We appreciate you watching. I'll even let you pick 2 items. 2 items out of the Run Pure shop. What is that? That's 16 points. If he gets 16 points, you get whatever you want. 2 items out of the Run Pure shop and $100 single entry from me.
Wow, look at that. All right.
And if he does
that,
I'm probably gonna have a lot of money because I got loaded up on the Niners. Or if Jennings goes 460-1, that's a good sign for Mr. ODB.
All right, there you go. There's the bold prediction. Maybe we should do that every show.
Yeah,
right?
I like
People
that.
throw
I like doing stuff
bold
like
prediction, and you can pick one of them, Tony, and say.
And he's been in there with us the whole show. We like having people with. And you don't have to agree with all our takes. Have some takes. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, the takes are good. Everyone should have
next week. Big T said, "Yeah, buddy, let's go. I'm rooting for you." Like ODB said, if he does do 460-1, we're in pretty good shape for our bets too. So I'll take that.
Don't forget, we got tomorrow's Print Factory show for the Thursday night showdown slate. We'll have that for you. I don't know if we're doing that at 4:45 or if we're doing it up to lock yet, but
at some early point, tomorrow for sure.
Early tomorrow, so probably 4:45.
3
tomorrow.
Even maybe 3, right?
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
Oh shit,
yeah.
Maybe 3. So
I need to go a little earlier.
Whatever the boss tells me, that's what we'll do. So and by the way, I got a great text from Tony before we jumped to the show. Where the fuck are you?
That's because ODB was like, "Where is he at?" I'm like, I gotta ask him.
But tell me, your bosses don't text you like that. Like that's how a boss texts you. Where the fuck are you?
Is that why the dogs like me on Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
alpha. That's an alpha text right there. That's 100%. A fucking alpha text.
That's why I love JSU and ODB though, because I can talk like that. They don't like get their feelings hurt. Like you just gotta say it sometimes.
Well, I knew it was my fault anyways when I saw 308 and I was like, oh shit, it's 308. What the? That's why he's texting me, where the fuck? At first I was like, this fucking asshole, what does he mean, where the fuck am I? And then I was like, oh shit, it's 308.
Wow, see, everyone's not a, look at Jeremy coming after me. The gelatin, what's gelatin mean?
Gelatin?
And it's not a fitted hat anyways. You gotta have a loose fitter on the big. I got 2 big domes too, Andrew. It's not just the head; it's the other dome.
Jesus. All right. Well, if you want to watch that fucking big ass dome of his up top, I'm talking about, not anything else. We use Giblets 44. Get over to Run Pure Sports. You can watch them on all the shows we got, premium shows. I'll be on tonight. Me, K. Fallick, Holden. Taking you guys up to lock for NBA. If you're playing that NBA slate and you want some NBA
Millie tonight, baby.
Sign up. Get that Millie winner tonight.
Yeah, but before we go, I just want to make a prediction that Big T ships 6 figures in the next 6 days in one contest. And if he does, Tony's going to give away some money next week.
Deal.
That's my prediction.
Deal.
And I really think we might be locked up tonight. I think tonight might be the night.
So how does Tony get this? This is why I can't give Tony credit anymore. This is exactly why I can't give him credit anymore. Tony gets that, and then Kevin must have erased his second message that he put about me. Come on, Kevin, don't erase those. Those are fun.
I don't even think you can delete it in there, can you?
I don't know. I don't see it anymore.
I don't think
it said JSU's number 1 seaman. Big T's new saying is number 1 alpha at RPS. JSU's number 1 seaman at RPS. What the fuck? Tony gets alpha and I get number 1 seaman? I mean, this is bullshit.
The other dude just said I had a fat and pudgy head. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you can't get all good things said about you. I mean, shit. People are telling me I look like
he
I
said
got a
it's still
cat
there, so it must be
tranquilizer.
up higher.
What the fuck do you want from me, okay? I mean, come on. You spelled semen wrong? I don't know. What are you going to do? Oh, he spelled semen wrong. Whatever. That's fine. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us, guys. Hope you enjoyed the Prim Factory show here. Like I said, NBA tonight. They got the NBA Hardwood show going on now. And then we'll have the Up Clock show for the members. Giblets44 is the code. 44% off your first monthly or weekly at Run Pure Sports. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button and get you notified every time we go live. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Thursday night Print Factory show for Big T, ODB, and myself, JSU. We'll see you guys later.